yo. This is not the smartest guys in the room. Yo. Hi, Spy Tom. This is not the smartest guys in the room. What's going on, my friend Tom? How are you today?
What's going on, buddy? I'm doing well. Just getting settled in for the day. It's 9:30 in the morning, so just getting up and running. Got my workouts in, got my swim in, got a bike in. It's always nice. Like people are like, oh my god, I can't believe you've already done that. Blah blah blah. It's like here's the reason why. The truth is the reason why that I try to get like my workouts done before the workday starts is so that I don't have it hanging over my head, like as I get later in the day, because I think we all have this experience, right? Like, and especially as entrepreneurs, you often your day kind of gets away from you, things get piled on, something comes up, a client needs a meeting, you gotta turn around a deliverable really fast for somebody, whatever the case may be. But like things add up, right? Your days are not always super predictable. And so because of that, like sometimes if I don't get my workout done first thing in the morning before my workday starts, it doesn't happen because like the next thing I know, we're putting the kid to bed and like trying to have dinner and it's like 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Right. And it's like, well, I got to go to bed so I can get up in the morning and try again. Right. So like that's the thing. So like Wednesday mornings, like most Wednesday mornings, I get up at like 4:30. I go to the pool. I'm in the water at like 5:30. Do my swim, come home, have a little breakfast, and then get out on the. This morning, I went out for an hour on the bike. That's what I had on my training plan. I still have a strength workout that I'm supposed to try to get in somewhere. That'll probably take about half an hour. But that's also what I get for just being a lunatic and doing Ironmans like a crazy person.
Okay, I wanted to dig into this. We're going to talk attention economy today, but you caught my attention with this. So, okay. So you get up at 4:30 in the morning to go exercise on one day, and then do you exercise other days, or is that like what's the plan there?
So typically the schedule, like I swim 3 days a week. And because I live in an area where there aren't a lot of indoor pools, there aren't a lot of fitness clubs that have pools. So the most convenient place for me to swim is a high school that's about half an hour away from my house. And so, because they have a pool and you can get a community membership, it's actually super affordable. You can buy a community membership and that gives you access to the pool. But in the mornings, the pool is only open from 5:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. because you got to be out of the building before school starts. So yeah. So like that's the time I have available. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, my alarm goes off at 4:30 and I get up and get out the door by 5 to be in the water at 5:30. And then yeah, I typically do on top of those 3 swims a week, I typically do 3 or 4 bikes a week and usually 3 runs a week.
Okay, you're inspiring us, Tom. I About a year ago, I started setting my alarm 2 days a week to get up and lift heavy weights those 2 days. I figured I wanted to make it attainable. Like I'm all about reaching goals and setting goals and small wins and stuff like that. So I'm like, how am I going to make sure that I get this done? Okay, well, I have this on Wednesday morning, or I go to breakfast clubs Wednesday morning, or on the weekend this might be happening. So every Tuesday and Thursday, I get up and I lift heavy for a half hour, lift whatever that means to anybody else. But I am down there. I lift a minimum of 30 minutes heavy through all the reps, the bench presses, the inclines, the things like that. And then my other days, I have it hanging over me, Tom. So the other days, to ride my bike or to ski or to run or to lift again, it hangs over. But on those 2 days, it does not hang over me. So that's that's my way. So I'd almost like to add another day, but I want that it doesn't hang over me, but I want to make sure that I get what I say I'm going to do done. And so that's why those 2 days are what I said at the point. That's where I'm at.
I gotcha. I mean, so So here's the thing, like, and actually, I've come up with a way to tie this into our topic for the day, and I don't actually even think it's like a tenuous connection. I think it actually makes a lot of sense to my brain, anyway. We'll see when I say it out loud. If it doesn't make sense, feel free to call me out. But um, I think like what I've done, right, and what I've ended up doing over the last almost decade now that I've sort of like been exercising regularly, right? It's really about 9 years or so that I've kind of been, sort of regimented, and really the last 7 or 8 years that I've really been on like training plans. What I found is the variation, the difference. What I really like about triathlon for me is that the variation of sports like holds my attention, and it allows me to sort of love each one of those sports for what they are, but not do it so much that I get tired of it, right? So it's sort of like there's always something new to look forward to. It's kind of like having your favorite, few shows that you like to watch, and there's just constantly new episodes coming out multiple times a week, right? So like each workout is like a new episode of my favorite show, and I get to go watch that or do that, watch that show or do that workout. And that is what works for me. And so like, and the way I keep that consistent over time is by following a structured plan, right? So even in the off season, like right now, I am actually in a training cycle for an Ironman. But like even after I do this Ironman in July, um, I'm going to continue training, right? Like I'm going to continue on a structured plan because that works best for me to sort of keep me engaged and hold my attention. And I think similarly, when we talk about holding the attention of our audience or garnering the attention of our audience, um, not only providing them with something they want to watch is incredibly important, but then also being able to do that on a regular schedule is the sort of second part that often I think gets forgotten or overlooked by people. Is they don't make it repeatable, right? So they do one thing or they get real excited, they make a video and they get like, 10 times as many views or a bunch of comments on one video they make, but they don't make it repeatable or sustainable. And so they make that video and then it's 2 weeks before they post something else again, right? And then they post, something 2 weeks later and it doesn't perform, and they get really discouraged and they're confused and I don't understand, my last video did this. And it's like, yeah, but your last video was something your audience A wanted to watch, but B, they let you know that, and then you ignored them, right? You didn't give them more of that on a regular basis. You just said, okay, eventually I'll get around to making another video. So I think that's the sort of second component that often gets overlooked is, yes, you have to earn the attention first by creating something that people actually want to watch or engage with. And then after that, you have to follow up with repetition, right? And it's just like, if you want to lift heavier weights, you got to put in the reps, right? Like if you want to be faster on a bike, you got to put in the reps, right? Or put in the laps in the pool if you want to be a faster swimmer, whatever the case may be. You have to put in the work. You have to be consistent. You have to show up on a regular basis. And I think that's really where a lot of people get it wrong, right? Is they don't have that consistency of showing up on a regular basis and really delivering for their audience over and over and over again, in a way that holds that attention over the long term and earns loyalty ultimately and trust, right? Because I think from a business perspective, that's what we're after, hopefully, right? Is loyalty and trust, in the long run. So yeah, so that's kind of my opening salvo on the attention economy.
Let's do it, Tom. Appreciate that. And I love that you brought up consistency right off the bat in attention. Knowing what you're going to get. When you tune in to Not This Place Guys, you get an hour, you get me and Tom talking media, you get us talking business. You wait around, you got Tom's thumbs, you got memory lane. That's what you're going to get. Me and Tom give you the best that we can give you. with any video I make or piece of content I put out, if it's Dominick, it's inspiration, it's positivity, it's leaning that way, leaning towards this. That's what it is. It might not be for everybody. I understand that. It's a consistent message that when you tune in, you know what to expect. That's what now you try to. Does this capture your attention? Maybe, maybe not. Are we talking about things that interest you? Okay, we are, we aren't. But what you are not going to see, I'm going to go right another direction here, Tom, with this before we jump to Dr. Tachi, is what you are never going to see from me is a train wreck. A train wreck gathers attention, right? You can some people put out content that is a train wreck. They're confused. They confuse their audience. They're crying. They're mad. They're yelling hateful things. That's not what you get here. And so many people, they start with something, they have an idea, and then all of a sudden, train wreck happens, and they just go, "Well, that video where I showed my legs, or that video where I swore at my neighbor, that gets the views, but it was a train wreck. They weren't good views. They weren't." You weren't helping other people. You weren't serving other people. You weren't educating other people. And now there's no consistency. Your audience doesn't know what to expect. So that's where I'll start, Tom. And then why don't we hear from Dr. Tachi and then anybody else that wants to step up? You want to weigh in on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're dead on, right? I think that's another place where a lot of people kind of get the consistency wrong is they're not consistent in their messaging. And I think some of that is because people just don't know who they are, right, as a brand, and they haven't sort of taken the time or done the work to establish their brand values, what their brand stands for, what the core mission of their brand or their business is, like any of those things that seem, obvious maybe to them. Like if you said to somebody, oh, what's the mission of your business? And they would probably tell you what service or product they sell is, right? Like that's what they would probably, it's like, no, 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 that's not your mission. That's what you sell. What's your mission? And they'd be like, right? Like I think that happens to a lot of people. And so, yeah, I think you have to put in the work of really digging into who your brand is, what you want it to stand for, like you have with Motivation Champs, right? Like you're very clear on what the mission is. And that means that your messaging is consistent, right? If you're on brand, if you're on message, that means you're talking about your mission, right? You're talking about bringing smiles, right? And positivity. Like that's what you're doing. It's very clear. It's very easy for you to articulate. And I think for a lot of folks, especially for entrepreneurs just starting out, they don't do that work, and so their messaging kind of ends up all over the place because they're like just trying different sales tactics to like see what sticks, right? They're throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks, and they're not actually talking about a message or delivering a coherent message around values or mission. And yeah, if you don't put in that work to develop those things, then it's always going to fall flat for your audience, I think, and be a little confusing and disjointed. So yeah, I mean, that's what I think. Dr. Tachi, I'm super curious to hear what you think about the attention economy and where people maybe miss the boat, where they go off the plot a little bit.
Good morning. I agree with everything that you both have said thus far. This is the interesting thing. I remember a few years ago, I had a guest on Mediascope that said data and attention are the new currency. And this was a few years ago. And it's true. People are clamoring for eyeballs. But to your point, it's the wrong audience and in the wrong way. So as you mentioned, if you are creating content, that's the problem with creating content just to get likes or just to get attention, because you may end up drawing in the wrong audience. I remember I had I probably told this before, but so what? We're going to hear it again just in case. I had a post that went viral on Instagram. Now, it was the type of post I had done before. I'm a geek, so I love the whole concept of 314 or Pi Day, right? So on March 14th every year, which is coming up soon. I usually do a post for Pi Day, which the Greek letter pi with 3.14 and then some other numbers. So I did this, and usually I'll post something that has to do with a pie. So I've started doing like recipes for pies from around the world. I did a Nigerian meat pie 1 year, and then 2 years ago, I did one for Jamaican beef patty, which is a type of pie. And so I reposted something that was there. Well, people loved it, and I was wondering why I was getting ding, ding, ding. I was like, what is this? I'm just reposting. Well, I put in there where it was from, but people didn't pay attention, right? And then I got all these people that were following me, but I'm like, this is not the type of thing that I post all the time. I'm not a recipe person, but it is in line with the type of things I do. So those people were not necessarily the people I wanted following me. I didn't necessarily want their attention. This was because they were following because they thought, oh, this is the person that post recipes all the time. I am not. So if you're and I could have continued doing that kind of stuff and posting those types of things, but it's disingenuous to my brand and who I am. So doing things to get attention on you may not be advantageous in terms of putting attention on your brand and the things you normally do if you're just picking things out of the air. You need to be strategic. It needs to be on brand. And that doesn't always mean that it always has to be the same type of thing. What I try to do, though, is whatever I post, I try to relate it back to what my brand is. Sometimes it's just me. I'm like, hey, I'm at the beach. That's nice too, right? Because my part of my brand is you need to relax sometimes, right? But if you're just picking things out of the air because you think audiences will like it, well, which audiences? Is it your audience? If not, then you need to evaluate what you're posting and the type of content you're making. So that's my 75 cents.
Thank you, Dr. Tachi. Well said. It is interesting. You can all of a sudden get viewers in something that you don't really want if you're putting out like those train wreck type videos. So very, very well said. And even like me, my daughter used to make slime, and one time making slime, all of a sudden a video of us making slime got, I'm going to give the number, it got like 250,000 views of me and my daughter making slime. And wow, that's really cool. And it was cool to watch him going up, but now I had 11-year-old kids following me for more slime, and they probably didn't want to hear my business tips or tips about publishing or thoughts about persistence and motivation. So I might have missed the boat with that slime video, or who followed it. So Tom, weigh in. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dr. Tachi is absolutely right. I mean, and to your point, with your incidental slime followers, right? Yeah, I mean, if you share things that are totally off brand, right, or not on brand, they don't even have to be totally off brand. They can be brand adjacent, but just not really sort of designed for your core audience or the kind of audience you want to attract. You can end up with a different audience than you intended to have, and that can be ultimately can sort of be a little bit distracting. I don't know that I would describe it as like a huge problem, right? Because it's not necessarily bad. You may end up with some people who end up sticking around and ultimately found you kind of accidentally through some other kind of style of content, only to find out that they really loved who you are or what your business is or your brand is, and stuck around, right? So like I think in the long run, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a bad thing, but it's not a good plan or a good strategy to sort of grow your audience or to maintain that audience and that audience's attention, right? Because the problem is you do that too much, you kind of share too much content that is off brand or off message. And eventually the people who were there, who are your ideal audience, who did sign up initially or start following you because they wanted to see your content, are no longer, are starting to jump ship, right? They're starting to tune out because you're not delivering what they had hoped for, right? Or what they expected from you, because you're delivering stuff off message. So yeah. So I think that's, yeah, it's definitely well taken and worth considering for sure.
Good points, Tom. Dr. Tachi, you were flashing, and then soon.
Yes, I
Go
just
on,
want
Tom.
to add one quick thing. There are also, I noticed quite a bit of content creators, especially like YouTubers who are vloggers, and they share a lot of their lives, right? Sometimes it gets personal, not overly personal for some, but it gets personal. So the moment they stop sharing the types of things because they become uncomfortable with how much they're sharing, it then has an effect on the people that are following them, because, and maybe that's good, because then you're getting the people out of your follow your community that are only there to see you crash, right? Or only there because they're sympathetic to whatever. You want people that are actually going to be part of your community. And so I just wanted to add that, because you have to be cautious of where, if, for example, if you're blogging, how much of myself am I going to share and how much am I comfortable with? And then in the future, am I going to be comfortable? Say, I don't have a family yet, but I'm trying to have a family, and then I'm sharing all this stuff. When do I pull it back? So these are some of the things in terms of garnering attention as well that we need to think about.
Good stuff, Dr. Tachi. I wrote these notes down going into this today. When it comes to attention, why am I doing this? Am I helping? Am I serving? Am I educating? And so, if you were sharing things about your personal life to entertain, to make people smile, to educate, if you get on that camera and you don't know and you're sharing overly personal things that don't answer any of those questions that you started doing those things for, then you could be in trouble. But speaking of in trouble, that's my segue. Tom is in trouble because we are going to Tom's Thumbs. That's where we ask our uh, production expert a question about what's going on in the world. So, Tom, today, as 25 years in production and giving your opinion on things, what I want a thumbs up or thumbs down to today. What do you think about the CEO of McDonald's spectacular video about the big arch? Go on, Tom.
I mean, spectacular in some ways, but probably not in the way he intended, or the senior leadership at McDonald's intended. God, I've seen so many people just roasting. I mean, like chestnuts on an open fire, French roast coffee. I mean, just putting the heat to him and tearing this guy up over this video that he made, trying what is it, the big arch, right? Is that what it's called? Here's the thing. I've had this conversation several times with like smaller businesses, right? Obviously, most businesses are smaller than McDonald's, right? But with much smaller businesses, and the question I get is, what if I'm not comfortable on camera, right? And this is usually from like CEO, founder, senior leader, president of the company, whatever, right? What if I'm not comfortable on camera? And my response has always been, just because you're the CEO doesn't mean you have to be the face of the company on video, right? It doesn't have to be you. It could be somebody else who's comfortable on camera, who likes being on camera, and maybe, let's be honest, who's actually good on camera, right? Because the CEO of McDonald's does not belong in front of a camera. Maybe he's great in a boardroom. Maybe he's great on an earnings call, right? Maybe he's a great leader, but he is terrible on camera, right? He comes across like, it's his first day in a human costume pretending to be a person, right? I mean, like robotic and stiff and almost like he's uncomfortable in his own skin, right? And then, sort of play acting at eating this burger, right? Like just it all comes across as like super disingenuous. The whole thing where he's he's like, you know, picking it up, and then he's like, oh, just to be clear, this is actually my lunch today. It's like, well, if that were true, you wouldn't feel a need to say that, would you? You would just be sitting down and digging into it. You wouldn't be like, just want to let everyone know that this is what I'm having for lunch today. I'm a real boy, right? Like, you wouldn't have to do that if you were actually comfortable on camera. And then to, like, you know, do this as a promotion for a new product. First of all, don't refer to food as product, right? Like, hello, knock knock. Have you ever talked to another human being, like, or somebody outside of the food industry? They don't refer to food as product. They refer to it as food, as what it is, right? So don't call it a product, call it a burger, right? Because that's the sort of, you know, popular lexicon and what people are familiar with. Call it what it is. Call it a burger, right? And then if you're going to promote this burger and you want people to actually get excited about it and actually go eat it, don't be confused by it. He's like turning it around in his hands going, I don't even know where to start with this. I don't know how to do this. Like, you put it in your mouth and you take a bite, buddy, right? It's not rocket science. It's a cheeseburger. So, like, first of all, don't be confused about it, right? Dig in like you're excited for it. And second of all, take an actual bite. Like, he barely scraped the edge of it. He touched his teeth to it and was like, delicious. Like, dude, take a big bite. Act like you actually want to be there eating a cheeseburger. Otherwise, have somebody else get on camera. Like, it's a classic play of, like, the boss, right? The CEO does not need to be the face of the company if he's not the best person for the company. And the fact that he did it kind of brings his leadership into question, because, like, who made that decision? Did he make that decision? Like, why did he make that decision? Did he really believe he was the best person on camera? And after they recorded it, did nobody look at it and go, oh, this is god awful, we definitely shouldn't use this, right? Or like, hey, maybe let's do another take, like where you actually take a bite and actually act like you enjoy eating McDonald's food as the CEO of McDonald's. I mean, the whole thing. And a plot, like, he's wearing like a weird sweater vest. He's like dressed like robot Mr. Rogers, right? Like, I mean, yeah, it's so strange. It doesn't make any sense. It was awful. It was just a classic case of the wrong person being in front of the camera at the wrong time, doing a terrible job representing the company. Yeah, I mean, it's just for all of those reasons, and probably many more that I didn't get into, but plenty of other people have on the internet. It gets a huge thumbs down from me.
Tom, you nailed that one. I'm glad I chose it, and it's right down your lane. So I would take a better bite. I eat McDonald's all the time. For all you people in here, that I eat McDonald's all the time. I love McDonald's. Me and my wife love McDonald's. We love every time. It's a treat. Tom, that guy messed up. Now, I want to tell you all. Usually, I don't share other things that I considered for Tom's thumbs. Second on the list today, I want to hear just your thoughts. I'm going to give it to you. Second on the list was Jim Carrey, the Jim Carrey videos where it's not Jim Carrey and it is Jim Carrey. Do you know about that?
I mean, I've seen a little bit of it, but like I haven't really gotten into it. I mean, he looks different. People are claiming it's not him. I don't know if it is him or isn't him. Like, I haven't really seen the videos. I've just seen people like putting pictures up side by side, and they're like, this is not the same person. And it's like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe he had some work done. I don't know.
Okay, see, so I'm glad I went with the one I chose. Dr. Tachi, what do you think? Did Tom do a good job on that answer?
So I was behind the scenes dying laughing at Tom's characterization of he, like, the day that he just became a human today, or put on his human costume. Yeah, you did an excellent job, Tom.
Thanks, Dr. Tachi. I appreciate that. I mean, yeah, it's just there's so many places it just fell flat. Like, the thing that I can't wrap my head around, right, is how they put it out, right? Like, how did it get in front of the public? How did that not get stopped internally? How, like, and to me, it smacks of like a failure of leadership, is that nobody was comfortable telling him that it was awful, right? And that they shouldn't use it. Nobody had the balls to stand up to him and say, hey, we can't use this, boss. Like, I get that you wanted to do this, but like, it's a terrible look. We can't use it. We could redo it. There's things we could do. Like maybe we spend a little time like actually coaching him and giving him some direction about how to act like a human being on camera. But like, yeah, I mean, I think a good leader should inspire the ability for people below them to ask questions, right? Not to necessarily question their leadership, but to ask questions, right? And somebody should have felt empowered by his leadership. Somebody in the C-suite, like the CMO, right, should have felt empowered to turn to him and say, "Hey, boss, it's not good, man. We shouldn't do it. We shouldn't use it," right? Like, we should not put this out on social media. We should not put this out anywhere in front of the public, right? Like this take is not usable. Let's do it again if you insist, or maybe let's find somebody else. Like, I mean, Jesus, like Grimace would have been better at it, right? And he doesn't even. I don't even think Grimace speaks.
You could have made an AI Grimace eating the burger, and it would have been better, right, Tom? It speaks to this. They had our attention into this subject. They had our attention. Has this guy made any videos before for the company? So now it's not consistent because, like, if I've seen him eating fries, like let's say he's Goonie, he is Goonie, he is dorky, he is all that stuff. If I watch him eat other things, like if I watch him eat other food and he's Goonie and dorky every time, and it's funny and it's clever, okay, I get it. But now the first time him eating this burger, like you said, product, weird sweater, all that stuff, it's a fail.
I think Dr. Tachi in the comments had a good point. They should have had the Hamburglar come in and try to steal it from him, right? Like, at least then there would have been some comedy to it or something redeeming. I mean, honestly, it's been better for their competitors than anything else. I mean, like every other fast food CEO has done basically a response video showing that they actually know how to eat food, and that they actually know how to pretend like they enjoy it. So it's just created tons of opportunity for like all of their competitors. I think there's been like Burger King. I think there was a Five Guys. There's been a whole bunch of them as a result. And yeah, I mean, it's all it's done is create opportunity for their competitors, and it has not. I don't think it's created any level of excitement for the Big Arch, right? I wonder if the Big Arch is going to go. What was the burger they did in the '90s? The Arch Deluxe, right? Like the last time they named a burger the Arch, it flopped, right? Like, have they not learned their lesson from that experience either?
Tom, I don't know. That guy screwed up big time. We're talking. This is not the smartest guys in the room. We're talking the attention economy. We're everywhere. We stream. We stream all kinds of places. We have a podcast. We're all kinds of places. This has turned into a podcast. So we want you. We thank you for checking it out every time. And this is what, for us, this is what we give you. You got an hour. In the pandemic, we used to go 3 hours, and we'd lollygag and uh, go off on these side quests of things. Go on, Tom.
I was gonna say, yeah, it was quite the free for all back then. We would just kind of meander around in circles. Who knows what we were talking about? It seems it's like kind of mind boggling now that I look at it, that we're, the hour I feel like goes quick because we're focused. We have a format that we follow. We have segments that we do every week. And it flies by for me, and I think it does for you too, and hopefully it does for the audience as well. But man, I remember, yeah, those days during the pandemic when we would just chat for like 3 hours, and it was like, what are we even talking about? Like, we're just waxing philosophical and all kinds of random stuff.
And that gets me back to the attention economy, like setting expectations, whatever it is. If you're okay, we try to be fun, we try to be educational, we try to talk some pop culture. That's what it is. So if anybody, if you want to make a video about fishing, if you want to make a video about production, eating Big Macs or whatever it is, that's let people know this is what I'm doing here, so they know. If they like it, we talk pop culture. We might talk about the Super Bowl. And we talk about it from a production stance, from a motivational stance. It is what it is. That's when we have your attention, that's what we're going to give you. And then you decide, hey, this is, I like these guys. I don't like these guys. I don't like this subject. Okay. And then the next week we'll be talking about, there will still be a Tom's Thumbs. There will still be a PSA. Tom, you said you had a PSA. You ready to do your PSA?
Yeah, I think I can get it going. I think I can do it. So, all right. So here we go. Put the clock up and we'll launch into my PSA. So I just want to say for everybody, I saw these on my way home this morning, and then I saw them again when I was out on my bike ride today. I just want to let everyone know that if you have placed truck nuts on the back of your truck is officially transgender. So congratulations on coming out with your transgender truck, because trucks are not assigned a gender at manufacture. So what you've done is you've decided that your truck identifies as a male, and then you've provided your truck with gender-affirming care so that it could realize that it wanted to realize the potential it had and become the gender that you want it to be. And so congratulations on having a transsexual truck. I applaud you and your wokeness.
Wow, Jesus, Tom, you came out hot on that one. I just covered my eyes, gang. I covered my eyes. I covered my ears. Tom was shot out of a cannon today. Holy cow! All right, Tom, I'll go with my own PSA after that. Or just we just got silenced off. What do you know, like back in the day, like when TV went off at midnight and.
Right. Yeah, we're late prime time with that kind of talk. Anyway, let me know when you're ready. And
all right, I'm ready. I'm on. Okay, here it is. Speedway. I used to love you, Speedway, down by my house. You were the greatest, Speedway. You were my people. I went and got my biggie. I call it my big foam cup of Diet Mountain Dew. I did not mind when there was a little hair on the soda machine for like months and months and months and months and months. The same little hair. I get my Diet Mountain Dew. I put it up to the thing. I push the button to make sure it drains out some stuff. Perfect Diet Mountain Dew. I didn't mind the little hair. I wondered if you were ever going to wipe the fronts of the machine, but you never did that. But when I got mad and on this PSA, why I had to leave you, I wanted consistency with my Diet Mountain Dew. You changed the syrup mix, you changed the bag, something. Now my Diet Mountain Dew tastes like somebody dumped a bunch of Skittles in it or Nerds or something like that. It is not Diet Mountain Dew. Don't mess with a good thing. That's my PSA today, Tom.
I like it. And I don't know if I can relate to the hair portion. But I definitely can relate to like the frustration of not getting the soda you want. Cause I had a similar experience. I went in, I was driving home from a little weekend ski trip Sunday evening and stopped at a gas station to get a drink, and went in and they had a big fountain, and I was like, oh great, I'm gonna get a fountain soda, this is perfect. And every single one of the sodas that I might have gotten was out. And I was just like, I was so disappointed. I was so frustrated. I was like, really? Like, and then they had one soda that I was like, okay, like as a consolation prize, because I do like a fountain soda. It's different than a soda in a bottle, right? And so I like went as a consolation prize to get a Diet Dr. Pepper, and which is like, okay, but not my first choice. And the mix was off. And so it was like mostly seltzer with like a little Dr. Pepper flavor. And I was like, well, I'm not paying for this. So I dumped it and had to toss the cup, and then had to go get a soda in a bottle anyway. But yeah, it was very frustrating. So I'm there with you on your level of frustration for the not having the soda that you want, like when you go in there, especially when you're in there regularly.
Thank you, Tom, for your agreement. As for your PSA on trucks having nuts and such, I I'm just gonna move on to the next subject.
I'm definitely gonna clip you saying trucks having nuts and such. That needs to be clipped for sure. That was hilarious.
There we go. There we go. All right, we're back. This is not the smartest guys in the room. We're talking attention economy. Our friend Jamie's here. Jamie, the whole way from Canada, I believe. So, Jamie, attention is in your business and being an actress. Do you need to get attention? Does it matter? Is there a way to harness it? What do you got for us?
Oh gosh, 110%. I'm actually doing that right now. So took a little time away and I'm making attention again by social media. You guys know that like I watch you on here, but I'm also on the other app. So I'm draw attention through all the different social medias. And definitely this this comment you got to say, I'm in Canada. Do you know how many trucks have nuts in Canada? Oh my goodness, they do. They really do. I'll send you pictures. And that's going to draw attention to. Quite funny. You will drive down the roads up here and there's going to be trucks with, yep, I'm not going to say it again. But yeah, drawing attention, no matter what you say, what you do, what a picture is, something that's always got a handle on it, whether it's an at sign or some kind of tagging. There's attention definitely draws the attention, well, positive and negative. So just be careful with the attention. But attention is attention. When it comes to social media, I like to make it funny, but it can be anything, really. That's my perspective.
Jamie, I think if it's safe to do so, I would encourage you to congratulate the drivers on those trucks for allowing their trucks to be transgender and supporting them through their transitioning process from asexual to male. Yeah, no, Dom's like shaking his head at me. But I think yeah, you definitely can attract the wrong attention with the wrong thing, and that's something we were talking about a little bit earlier with sometimes that wrong attention can be innocent. Sometimes it's not so much, right? Sometimes you end up getting people upset with you and attracting attention because they're angry, right? With something you've done or said or posted, right? And so I think that's the other side too, is like if you're not ready to stand up to the flack, right? If you're worried about catching strays from people, or being in the line of fire from folks because of a controversial opinion or something you've said or done, then yeah, be wary of what you say, what you post, how you share it, where you share it, etc. Because you definitely kind of attract the wrong kind of attention. I think most people online at some point have had that happen, right? What do you think, Dom? Have you gotten the wrong kind of attention?
It's interesting because I tell everybody, like you said earlier, inspiration, positivity, smiles, developing stories that elevate humanity. That's my zone. That's where I try to stay. But we might talk about something here, the Super Bowl, how the advertising on the Super Bowl, the business of media, the business of Jersey Mike's selling subs for $20 or whatever they're selling them for. And then I'll see, like, I'll post a clip or something, and people are like, you're so out of touch. You're an idiot. Or, I'm just giving my thoughts on Jersey Mike's or the airport or whatever we're talking about. So sometimes when you're on for an hour a week or something like that and giving your thoughts on something, sometimes you catch some strays. But overall, there you go, Tom.
It makes me wonder if any truck nut advocates are gonna come after me for my take today on my PSA or what I just said to Jamie. What do you think?
When I clip it, only put your picture in and say like Tom on trucks, nuts, and things like that. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that, Tom. Okay, let's see here. So we're talking attention economy, not the smartest guys in the room. Thanks all for being here. Anybody that wants to jump up, come on up here, jump on up, chat with us. So Tom, attention economy. What next thoughts for you on a tip? Do you got a tip for the good or a tip for the bad?
Well, I think one of the things that we haven't really talked about is the value of attention, right? Like when we talk about the attention economy, like what's the value, right? I think the value is in garnering attention and earning the attention of an audience. The value for your business can be tremendous, right? Because we're all sort of inundated with the most content that we've ever been served in the history of humankind, right? Like we have the most people vying for our attention of any time in human history. And that number just keeps going up, right? Year after year. More and more people on more and more channels through more and more venues are vying for attention, right? And the reason that they're doing that is because there's tremendous value behind that attention. And I think to me as a business, that value comes in two forms, right? So if you manage to create content that serves your audience, that creates value for your audience, and grows your audience, then there's two places to derive value from that. One is directly in taking those people and moving them down your sales process, and creating opportunities for them to become customers or clients of your business. And then the other is in advocacy, which is often very much overlooked. But if you create value for people, even if they're not likely to become your customer or client, they will look for opportunities to return that value, to reciprocate. And the way they'll do that naturally, if they're not in the market for your products or services, is they will look for opportunities to advocate on your behalf to other people. They will try to find other customers for you, right? People who are in the market for your products or services. And I think that aspect of the attention economy is often overlooked to the detriment of businesses, because everyone is so focused on sales conversions that they fail to appreciate the value of advocacy, right? The value of direct personal referrals to your business, because those people are likely to buy from you, right? When you get, and I think we've all been in the situation when a friend says, hey, you got to go check out this restaurant, it was great. Are you more or less likely to go there than a restaurant you happen to cross on, and any other restaurant you happen to across or have seen, right? Obviously more likely, because your friend vouched for them. Somebody you trust said you should try it, and so you're probably going to go try it, right? And the same is true whether you're a restaurant or you sell production services like I do, or publishing services like you do, Dom, right? If you get a personal recommendation from someone that says, hey, if you need this, this is who you call, right? That is gold for a business or a brand, right? And it is often overlooked in the attention economy because people are just focused on sales and they don't think about the long-term impact of developing an audience, a faithful audience that will advocate for your business over time. So yeah, I think that's one of the most overlooked places. What do you think?
I'm loving this conversation today, and I'm so into this thought that how many people in this room, you can flash or whatever, have been on your phone today? Now, at the same point, how many people have read a book today? How many people have watched a television show today? How many people have been on a social media app today? I'm going to think that the highest portion of people in this room have been on a social app today. So I'm going to tell a story about my dad back in the day. And I used to work for my dad in landscaping. And I always wanted him to spend money. And I'd be like, Dad, we should get a new billboard. Dad, we should get a sign over here. Dad, we should get an ad in the newspaper. I came in one morning, giving my dad all these ideas. He was old school, didn't like my ideas all the time. He said, Dominic, can you one time give me a mother effing idea that makes me money and doesn't cost me money? And he wasn't that nice about it. So today in this world, social media is a free distribution model. It's free right now. You could pay, now you can boost ads and all kinds of things like that. But the first piece that you put out on social is free. Now, if it's interesting, if it gains attention, if it's good, not like the McDonald's video, it can grow. You can scale all that based on this free piece of content. So I encourage you to step out, make that piece of content, make it good, make it on message, and use this free platform while you got it. Probably won't be free forever, but while it is, go all in, double down on it, Tom.
Yeah, I mean, I think, God, who knows? I mean, right now, the reason the platform is free to users is because what they're really selling is our attention, right? I mean, you talk about the attention economy, what they're selling is our attention, right? To advertisers. So we'll see if they ever end up charging us, then we're paying for the privilege of having our attention sold to other people, which, yeah, I don't know. Especially considering how profitable social media companies are, smells like a money grab to me. But
Our attention, our data, our
oh
our
yeah,
shopping history, how fast our attention, how fast when I look at something for my gut, do I see 50 ads for things to help my gut? So you're right on that, Tom.
yeah, 100%, 100%. So we're creeping up. Before we get like up against the wall here at the end of the hour, I want to make sure we get to memory lane, and you don't feel too rushed. If you want to take a leisurely stroll down memory lane, I want to make sure to give you that opportunity.
Tom, I'm thankful for that. And you guys, you are getting my memory lane today. Tom, about 30 years ago, some of my friends invited me over at about this time of the year, and we watched March Madness. 30 years later, I almost shut my whole business and life down to watch March Madness. I love it. I love every year. I love everything about it. I love the uh, upsets, the Cinderella stories, the polls, the brackets. I would encourage everybody in this room, even if you wonder what the hell are all these people talking about, even if you don't know the teams, get yourself in a bracket. It's bonding, it's community, it's fun, and half the time, even unlike I've watched for 30 years, I don't think I've ever won a poll, Tom. Maybe one year. I stink every year because it's upsets and it's magical. There is a magic in March Madness. So next week, when people are yelling and screaming, if you are not a fan, go over into the room, look at what they're doing a little bit, and you may just become the next March Madness fan like me. And at my house, Tom, we have a bracket I started a few years ago called the Peach Baskets. And the families in the Peach Baskets, it started when the kids were little. It was me, Cameron, Maddie, and Liz, and that's the Peach Baskets. We do it every year. So memory lane, March Madness is great. Embrace it, enjoy it, give it a try. It's pure, it's beautiful. That's what you got, Tom.
All right, I'm lost on the peach baskets. Like, is that just what you call the brackets?
That's my bracket at my house. The Peach Basket basketball started as a Peach Basket. So when we name our poll, you have to name your polls like on CBS or whatever app you use, and you name it like it could be Domasky 1, 2, 3. I should start the clubhouse bracket, but in my bracket we call it the Peach Baskets because the Peach Baskets is where basketball starts, and I'm a basketball purist. I love it, Tom, and I love March Madness.
I got it. Okay, now it makes sense. I like the instant frustration when I asked that question. You instantly were like, "What? How do you not know this?" But yeah.
Hey, the other day I was editing one of these shows for a podcast, and we were talking about like you coming to Pittsburgh, and then I was mad at you because you only watched one football game this year, And you're like, and I was like, well, I'm not inviting you to Pittsburgh because you didn't watch any Steeler games. And you were like, I don't understand how you can be mad at me because I didn't watch a game this year. And you were, I felt you were a little hurt, Tom.
Is that your impression of me? Oh, I don't understand how you can be mad. That's your impression of me?
Yeah, that was pretty good. Anybody in the comments, was my impression of Tom spot on? Tom, it is that also that time. Why don't you wrap us up from truck nuts to whatever else you were talking about today? What do you got?
Well, we talked about a lot more than just truck nuts, for sure. Although I feel like, given the attention economy that we live in, that would probably be the most popular clip from today's episode. But yeah, I mean, I think we talked about a lot today. We covered a lot of ground, which I think is great. But at the end of the day, I think, there's a few important things to remember when it comes to, the attention economy, right? The first is that it is important to create content, right, that delivers value to your audience, that will garner attention from the audience that you want to attract, right? From the people who you want to be around and supporting your brand and your business, right? So, and we're approaching this obviously from a business perspective, and whether that's a personal brand or you own a company, whatever the case may be, you want to create content that will deliver value to the audience that you want to attract, right? That's incredibly important. So understand and know who that audience is, understand their psychographics, right? Understand what they're looking for, and then look for opportunities for you to create content that delivers value to them, that gives them something that they want or need. Then you've got to make sure that you can do that consistently over time, right? Once you know who your brand is, what your brand represents, what your values are, what your mission is, right? And who you're talking to, then the style of the content kind of gets solidified. Now you got to make it repeatable, right? So you got to create a format, right? You have to create the opportunity or create content that that you can sustain over a long period of time, because that's the next part, is you have to be consistent. And that does not mean that you have to post 14 times a day, right? And I've seen a ton of very successful creators and influencers talk about this online. So I'm not just making this up myself. This isn't just my opinion. This is an opinion shared by a lot of other people who earn their livings doing this. You don't have to post 14 times a day. It's the quality is more important than the quantity. So don't make a bunch of crap just so you can post 18 times a day. If you can only sustain 3 times a week sharing content, then that's what you should do, and make the content the best it can be for your audience, right? And then finally, when it comes down to it, don't forget that there's 2 streams of value for your brand or your business based on this attention economy, right? And there are probably others that I'm forgetting, but 2 primary ones, right? One is taking members of that audience and ushering them through a process to become customers or clients. The other is creating value for that audience so that they become advocates for your brand or business. Don't forget about those advocates. There's a ton of value in that advocacy. Those recommendations and referrals that they create for your brand can be a gold mine for you, right? Can be transformative for the revenue you generate for your business off of the content you create, right? And off of this attention economy. So those are my thoughts. I think those are the biggest things that people miss, right? That where they make mistakes, and some easy ways to sort of think about it that hopefully will help you correct for those things. So I hope that's helpful to everybody. I hope you guys have enjoyed the conversation. We've loved having you here as we talk about all things attention economy, and as Dom put it, truck nuts and such. We appreciate you. We love you. We thank you guys for being here every week with us. You're the reason why we do this show. For Dom, I'm Tom. We are not the smartest guys in the room. And until next week, we love you. We appreciate you. We hope you have a great rest of your week and a great weekend. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.